This video tutorial is how to sew Shaolin temple style of men's sleeveless wrap vest. This sleeveless men's vest features a wide shoulder design and a right side wrap closure, secured with adjustable ties instead of normal buttons along the right seam for a customizable fit. The clean, minimalist cut offers a modern look, perfect as a standalone fashion piece. Layer it over shirts or wear it solo for a sleek urban style. For a bold twist, pair it with a fabric belt to cinch the waist for a structured silhouette. Alternatively, style it as a lightweight kung fu or martial arts top. Embrace both tradition and contemporary edge. This video tutorial is made for demonstration on how to use sewing patterns from Studio82patterns.com and Studio82pattern.com. To better and more clearly demonstrate the sewing process, the sewing pattern used in the video tutorial is a 50% scaled down version of the original design. To get more original digital sewing patterns, please visit www.studio82patterns.com or www.studio82pattern.com. About the size, you can check the item gallery. There is size table in both metric and imperial. And one more thing, the size table shows the actual apparel measurement. So when you choose a size to sew, you may add 6 centimeter more at least to your body measurement. For example, if your bust measurement is 86 centimeter, then you should add 6 centimeter to 12 centimeter to it. And 6 centimeter is for the tight fit, and 12 centimeter is for the loose fit. The result should be 92 centimeter to 98 centimeter. It means you should choose the pattern size based on these two figures. At the bust, if you choose item with stand collar, you should take neck girth into your consideration. Also, you should add 2 to 3 centimeter to the neck girth measurement. Last but not least, don't choose the size only based on the name of the size, but you can always send me your body measurement. Let me choose it for you. You should arrange the paper according to the page number and the note I put on the first page. The order is from left to right, from up to down. Start with page 1. One more thing, when you print out the pattern, you should know different printers may have different default margin value. The difference may vary from 1 millimeter to 5 millimeter. It is not possible to remove the predefined physical margin reserved from the printer. The physical margin value is a fixed thing associated with certain type of printers. It can't be removed. So, the easiest way to assemble the pattern is to use the PDF file with margin 0 millimeter, which I did. Just put the paper edge by edge and no overlap. But please be aware that the lines of the pattern are not totally printed out on the edges due to the printer's physical margin. When you assemble the papers together, make sure the lines on two papers go along with each other on the projected curves. Do not directly abut the lines together. You may lose the names. You may also draw the missing parts of the lines by yourself as long as it goes with projection of curves. Or you can save the time, just draw the line in your mind. Now, let's starting from cutting fabric according to the block pattern. This pattern is relatively simple in composition, consisting of only 2 pieces as shown on the screen. Let's start by cutting the front piece. Fold the fabric with the right side facing inward. Then cut along the outer edge of the pattern. This will give us a left and a right front panel. Remember to mark the position of the slit opening. Next, we'll cut the back piece. First, fold the fabric along the grain line and press the fold. Then, as shown on the screen, align the center back line of the pattern with the fabric fold. After that, cut along the pattern outline to obtain one folded back piece. Next, as shown on the screen, we'll sew the 3 pieces together at the shoulder seams. Then stitch the side seams, taking care to stop sewing at the slit opening. A quick sewing tip. This video only demonstrates a simplified sample version, so the edges are finished minimally. However, if you are sewing this vest for actual wear, I recommend using interfacing for a cleaner finish. Before sewing the side seams, finish the armhole, hem, and the slit openings with wide bias tape. For interfacing, I suggest using a 4 cm wide bias tape, plus 1 cm seam allowance on each side, meaning you will need to prepare a 6 cm wide bias tape. Here's a brief video of how the facing is applied at the slit, just for reference. Today, we will demonstrate the facing finishing technique, commonly used in making cheongsam and other Chinese-style garments, especially for unlined cheongsams. In this tutorial, we will specifically show how to apply the facing at the slit open while creating a traditional arrowhead detail, a signature element in high-end cheongsam construction. Sew the French seam up at the side seam to the actual slit position, not the notch mark. Sew slightly past it, as this section will be covered by facing. Prepare a 6 cm wide facing strip. Press a 1 cm seam allowance on both edges. With right sides together, fold it in half. Then unfold one pressed edge and fold it diagonally to form a 4 cm isosceles right triangle, leaving a 1 mm extension at the apex as shown. Make a small clip at this point. Stitch from the folded edge down to 1 cm below the clip. At the top corner, reduce the stitch length to avoid fabric distortion from back stitching. Trim the excess seam allowance at the collar. Use tweezers to turn the facing right side out, carefully shaping the pointed tip. Align the facing with the slit opening as shown on screen. Then unfold and pin it in place. Matching the seam edges, stitch both sides of the slit separately. Press flat. Flip the facing to the right side and press again. To ensure the lining remains hidden, edge stitch 1 mm from the slit's fold. Trim any excess fabric at the tip, as demonstrated. Finally, hand stitch the inner edge of the facing to the main fabric for a clean finish. Now, let's make the collar piece. The finished width of the collar is designed to be 6 cm, but you can also choose 5 cm. This means the width of the collar piece you need to cut should be 2 times 6 cm equals 12 cm plus 1 cm seam allowance on each side, resulting in a total width of 14 cm. The length should match the distance from the front left panel side seam to the front right panel side seam. When cutting the collar piece, it's recommended to use a 45-degree bias cut strips. Steps 1. Press the side seams of the collar piece first to set the shape. Then press the center fold line of the collar. 2. With right sides together, sew the collar piece to the neckline of the garment all around. 3. Flip the other side of the collar to the inside of the neckline, covering the outer stitching line, and hand stitch the inner collar in place. 4. For the ends of the collar, you can either keep the original right angle shape or trim the fabric so the collar aligns neatly with the side seams. Finally, attach the button strips or buttons. If you prefer buttons, you will need to fabricate machine fabric hoops to pair with them. Alternatively, you can make fabric strips, as shown on screen, to serve as closures. You will need to attach 3 pairs of button strips on the right side seam, 1 pair of button strips on the left side seam. For a smoother finish when worn, consider replacing the left side strips with a button plus hoop combination instead. The reference image was provided by a friend who requested the pattern for this design. Shared here for inspiration only. That's all for this tutorial. This is Celine signing off.